California magnitude 3.4 earthquake struck a few hours ago, and SWARMS, we'll see them together. It rocked Ventura, north of Los Angeles last night. The latest tremors and aftershocks, what's going on? It's near the Garlic Fault. As you can see here, that straight line going from Los Angeles, basically northeast towards Ridgecrest. Anyway, this is the shake map, the USGS shake maps. And, okay, we have the most seismic area in the world is the West Coast right now. After the July 4th and 5th earthquakes in Ridgecrest, which is at the Kosovo volcanic field. It has one of the country's biggest geothermal plants there. It's not the biggest in the world. The biggest one is at the geysers. That's another story. Huge earthquake intensities there. Now, Californians woke up with the ground shaking. They felt it. And it sparked fears of an earthquake. So there are earthquakes. There was an earthquake this morning, but there was also a swarm there. The latest news from U.S. Geological Survey, Emily Hendon Express UK refers to this. USGS reported earthquake struck Southern California Thursday morning, and the quake was magnitude 3.4. It happened at 5:05 a.m. local time. The agency said the tremor occurred in the coastal city of Ventura, which is northwest of Los Angeles. It struck 2 miles from Oxnard and 12 miles from Santa Paula, and the quake is the second magnitude of 3 or greater in this area in just 10 days. According to USGS, the earthquake occurred in the depth of 8 miles. In total, 14 minor earthquakes struck the area since that midnight, and the average of 234 quakes with a magnitude of 3 and 4 occurs every year in California and neighboring Nevada. The recent quakes have sparked fears of the so-called big one that is supposed to strike the southern San Andreas area because it's overdue. The big one is the hypothetical earthquake of magnitude 7.5 or greater that's expected to happen along the San Andreas Fault. As we know, San Andreas is the longest fault in California, and the second biggest is Garlic Fault, which is right, this Ventura earthquake is right at that junction, basically. San Andreas is the continental transform fault, extending about 745 miles through California, forming the tectonic boundary between the Pacific Plate and the North American Plate. That's the subduction zone, as we know, and is divided into 3 segments, each with different characteristics and different degrees of earthquake risk. It's the north, the middle, and the south. In this case here, we're the southern San Andreas section. Now, such a powerful earthquake would, of course, produce devastation to human civilization within 50 to 100 miles from the epicenter. The urban areas at risk include Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Palm Springs. And Californians are on permanent alert for the big one, which seismologists say is overdue, especially after the Ridgecrest quake. They've been reminding us of this almost daily. The U.S. Geological Survey quake data estimates that these earthquakes happen at intervals of about every 200 years. Based on the long-term rate of slip on the San Andreas, the amount of offset that occurred on the fault in 1906 remains difficult, though, for scientists to predict when the next mega quake will hit. The USGS says its model suggests there's a small chance, that's about 2%, that a 7.9 magnitude could happen in the next 30 years. Well, they keep changing their percentages. I thought it was 72%, not 2%, 72%. There must be a typo here. Now, the safety during an earthquake, how to protect yourself the right way, you have to follow the steps that the government has reminded us of. If you're in a car, pull over and stop. Set your parking brake. If you're in your bed, turn face down, cover your head and neck with a pillow. If you're outdoors, stay outdoors away from buildings. Do not get in a doorway and do not run outside. Drop, cover, and hold whenever you are, wherever you are, onto your hands and knees. If you're using a wheelchair or walker with a seat, make sure your wheels are locked and remain seated until the shaking stops. Cover your head and neck with your arms. If a sturdy table or desk is nearby, crawl underneath it for shelter if it's sturdy. If no shelter is nearby, crawl next to an interior wall away from windows. Crawl only if you can reach better cover without going through an area with more debris, and stay on your knees or bent over to protect your vital organs. And hold on if you're under a table or desk. Hold on with one hand, be ready to move with it if it moves. And if you can't find a desk or a table, cover your head and neck with both arms and hands. And if you're seated and unable to drop to the floor, bend forward, cover your head with your arms, hold on to your neck with both hands. All right, let's go and take a look together to see what's going on the map. This is easier to use than USGS. This has less plotted earthquakes, so it goes faster. This is the area right here. As you can see, we're still having more. This is the Garlic Fault. Ridgecrest, of course, is swarming with earthquakes. And this is the area of the geysers, as we know. Now, let's go in more into the area. There we are, Oxnard right there. As you can see, that's a huge quake swarm. Right there. Okay. Sorry, pulled out too much. Okay, there's Los Angeles. And pulling out again, let's see where the Garlic Fault is. Okay, this is San Andreas. Sorry. I pulled out too much. Okay, San Andreas, you can see right there, that line of earthquakes. And this crack here is the Garlic Fault, right there. And basically it's at the junction of it, the weak point of it. Los Angeles and Ridgecrest. So it's quite close. Let's go in more. Must be at least, 30 quakes there, if not more. As you can see, it's really buzzing. Really. Okay. This is the 3.4 and the details of it. How many people felt it? 337 people felt it. All right. And let's go into the shake map so we can see ourselves what's happening. Aerial, that's always nice to see. And let's go put in the faults and the tectonic plates. Okay, that's the Garlic Fault right there. It's full of faults, as you can see. All right, San Andreas. San Andreas, Hayward, meet at the pinnacles around there. That's where we had the couple of weeks ago, the 4.5, and the next day, a couple of hours later, 4.7, where Hayward Fault meets San Andreas at the pinnacles near Salina. And this is the San Andreas Fault system. Garlic Fault right there. Full of faults there. Okay, let's go shake map. Unfortunately, they don't extend it. They only have a small, that's okay. Small, let's go in a little bit more. Okay. It's full of faults, as you can see. All right, take your pick. They did tell us after Ridgecrest that we would have a tremendous period of earthquake activity. Let's get rid of some of these fixation stuff, okay. All these faults there have been jolted by Ridgecrest, which is in a volcanic field. It's also caused quake swarms in the Long Valley Caldera area, the supervolcano, and it's also caused quake swarms at Yellowstone, just as it did 10 years ago. All of these things have been jolted. Okay, so they're big and it's a swarm, as you can see. Okay, if we keep an eye out on that, and I'll leave links below for you. Everyone who's out there, please be very careful, because especially people, okay, in Los Angeles, you have to know that most of these buildings are not retrofitted for a 7 quake or above. And it's, you have to be very careful. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.